Hi, my name is Natalia Willette, and I am an attorney here in the state of Florida, real estate attorney. And I kind of wanted to give you a behind the scenes look of what happens in a title company once you've submitted a contract. A lot of the time, investors are super excited. They've gotten somebody under contract and they submit it to a title company and they don't know what's going on. So I wanted to give you an insight into what happens. So as soon as you submit a contract into the title company, what they do is that they assign it to a searcher. That's somebody that's going to do a title search on it. They're going to see if there are any liens on it, any other types of encumbrances, whether they need to get a hold of an HOA or a condo association, what kind of payoffs they need to request. And once they have done that search, they produce what's called a title commitment. And the title commitment gets assigned to a title closing attorney or a title closing agent. The title closing agent looks at that commitment, and from that commitment, they can tell what they need to do. That means the type of deed they're going to have to prepare, whether they're going to have to deal with a mortgage, they're going to see who they're going to have to request payoffs from, all of that. That document tells them exactly what they need to do. If you've gotten somebody under contract who is a cash buyer, the transaction is pretty simple in terms of what the documents are that the closing agents are going to prepare. They're going to prepare a closing statement, of course, that's got like the money, the two different columns, the ins and outs, and that's going to get to the bottom line. So they're going to add the closing costs of the company, which will include, of course, the search fee, the title closing fee, maybe there's survey fees involved, depending on the type of title policy that they want, and obviously whether there's an owner's policy, loan policy, if there was a loan involved. So those are the things that go into that transaction. And then there's a bunch of affidavits that go along with it. So the affidavits are going to be, you're swearing and affirming that you haven't liened or created any other type of encumbrance on the property in the past few weeks or in the gap period between what can be seen in the official records and what's there. And they're also going to make you certify that you understand as to the splits that have been created for tax purposes and other types of things like that. They're going to let you know that they also don't take care of anything having to do with utilities, that you generally have to do those transfers amongst yourselves. On the other hand, if you have a closing that involves a closing statement with a lender, somebody that's an end buyer, that title company is going to be waiting to get several documents and underwriting approval from that lender. They're going to wait for a giant package of information and for figures, it's called. So the figures are the numbers that the lender is coming up with that says what they're collecting for closing for that end buyer, what they're going to have to bring for taxes, for insurance, what is the lender's underwriting fee and any other sort of fees associated with that, the tax search fee, all of those. And they populate them and then they give them to the title company, and then the title company and the lender work together to balance that out. And once they have a final CD and the lender's underwriter approves that final CD, then the lender is allowed to release that package that's got the mortgage and the 1,000 different things. It's usually about 100 to 150 pages on average are the packets. And that's when the people are assigned the date of closing, and everybody goes and signs the documents. Those documents get sent up to the lender for approval for funding, and then from there, once everybody's approved for funding and all the funds have been received by the title company can then disperse those funds according to the closing disclosure if it's a loan package, or the HUD-1 statement if it's a traditional cash closing or a non-tiller RESPA transaction loan closing. So that's kind of like the ins and outs of how it works with the title company. It can take from a week to a couple of weeks for a cash transaction to 30 to 60 days for a standard loan transaction. So I hope this has been helpful in getting you to plan out your timing right when you are doing your investments.